Order the Special Finance Committee meeting for this evening. Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Present.
Councilwoman Hawaiian, Councilman Capapiano,
Present.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Present.
Councilman Wall. Oh, sorry. Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Donegan,
Present.
Council President Marino.
Present.
Okay, before us this evening, we have proposed amendments to the budget. Before we discuss any amendments, I do want to open it up for public comment. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Tom, are there any members of the public online?
There is no public comment.
Okay. What I'm going to do is I have a list of amendments that I put into a spreadsheet. I'm going to pass these out to members of the council and committee. That way you each have a copy so you know what we're looking at. I'm going to I got 15 copies, so, and I can always make more. So I'm going to pass these out. Everyone, let's take like 5 minutes if you'd like to review it in fairness, and we'll go through them one by one on the vote, not taking it as a block. And we'll go from there, okay? All right. Okay. As people are taking a minute to look over this, what these amendments amount to, as I tried to clarify in the summary section, these amendments that are here right before us would have no impact on the overall tax burden or the tax levy. These are simply line item, changes between line items that balance out completely. The total figure of the mayor's budget will not change based on these amendments. Several of the adjustments are contractual obligations that were identified through the hearing process. These are things such as in the clerk's office, clerical assistance, the planning department's education program line item, the library's part-time help to account for changes in the changes to the state minimum wage coming January 1. And as well as library salary and payroll tax. The money that is left over, kind of the pool, all of that would go to additional city maintenance of effort towards the schools. And that would total, if all is approved this evening, that would total $213,170.78 towards the school. What we'll do is we'll take a recess until 5:40 for members to review. And at that point, we'll come back and I'll start going through these amendments. Till 5:40. We are coming out of recess at this time. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend Group 1111, Department of Inspections, line item 42172, administrative penalties. I'd like to increase that revenue line item by $15,000 to $40,000. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to amend.
What I would like is a motion to approve that amendment.
Motion to approve. Second.
For reference, this line item is running over. I had questions about whether it was just like a miscapture of a bill of revenue from another line item. I did confirm with Director Zadelis that that is in fact not the case. And so I'd like to amend this to 40,000. Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you, Chair. Just through the chair to Director Zadelis, do you think raising this $15,000 is attainable? This isn't one that goes through municipal court, correct?
Through the chair to the counselor, as the chairman said, it was a expense that was properly classified. Without doing a little more research, I would say there are probably similar situations out there, but, I wasn't prepared for that question. It just hit me today, so I couldn't give you a definitive answer.
And just to clarify, this is increasing the revenue line item. Clerk, please take a roll. Council Vice President.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Chairman. If the clerk can mark me in as present, I appreciate that. And I apologize. The motion was, are we on the first item?
We are on the first line item, Group 1111, Department of Inspections, line 42172, administrative penalties. This is to increase that revenue line item by 15,000. The amended budget would read $40,000. Clerk, please take a roll.
House McFerry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
I'm for the sake of our canvassing director, I'm going to take something out of order. The lines, because that way you can get it. No. You put in enough time. If you go down about halfway down the sheet, halfway down the line items, it is 1108 Board of Canvassers, line item 51100 salary schedule. I'd like to entertain a motion to increase that line item by $4,400. The amended budget would read $241,317.
So moved.
Second.
This was brought up in the meetings. This is to adjust to job descriptions, correct? Is there any discussion? Director Moretti.
Yes, this is, I think, is a case of selective reward the squeaky wheel. There was a lot of department heads that wanted increases, and this is certainly squeaky wheel gets the grease. In this case, not that these people are not deserving, but we also have hundreds of other city workers, laborers, and Teamsters that deserve increases also, and not being selective based on, as I mentioned, the kind of squeaky wheel outside people coming independently. There were many department heads that came forward asking for raises for their people, increases, and they all deserve it throughout the city. I suggest this is where there's These are Teamsters positions. We have collective bargaining coming up, actually starting in the next month or two. And I suggest that all these increases, particularly this one, be incorporated into that, because I think it weakens us in dealing with, on the other side of the table, and dealing with the Teamsters Union. I think these should be included as part of that collective bargaining and not squeaky wheel being rewarded. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Moretti. Is there any further comment? Council Vice President Vargas.
Can you elaborate a little bit on this? I'm trying to understand. Are we short in salary? Is that what it is?
This is to cover pay grade increases. My understanding is that there is a desire to make a change to the job description and job title within the department, which would amount to the increase that would be accounted for in this amendment that's proposed before us right now for $4,400 in the salary schedule, and then a subsequent $337 increase in payroll tax. So it would amount to under $4,800. But this is to account for two job description title changes that would occur within the department at the request of the director.
Mr. Chairman, am I to assume that the motion is to amend the funding only to increase, not to amend the position description?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
So that's to amend it for 2 employees or just to 1? I remember when the director came before us. He's saying 2?
Yeah, it's for both.
It's for both. So it's the 2, well, there's 3 full-time employees, correct, Chairman?
I'm gonna ask Director Lehman to come to the floor.
Thank you, Chairman, members of the council, in the committee. So there, as you know, Emerson Brito's position, the bilingual election specialist, was created by the council a couple of years ago. So that position is already in a title, grade, and job description that's appropriate. However, the other 2 staff positions in the office for the last 15 years have not had any adjustment, despite a variety of other duties, which I won't get into here, but it's in the letter that I provided to the council and the administration. So the Board of Canvassers in December voted to authorize and direct me to pursue the adjustment to those 2 positions, which involves a 1 grade increase. And in doing so, because they are Teamsters, however, they are unique because the employees of the Board of Canvassers per charter are the only unclassified Teamsters in the entire bargaining unit. So their positions are unique in that regard, and that is because they are appointed directly by the Board of Canvassers and approved by this body, or by the full city council. So in this case, the board directed me to pursue this to establish the 1 grade increase so that we can then file, upon adoption of the budget, assuming it would pass, a corresponding full job description update, which incorporates all the new duties that they're already doing, that have been added to their tasks in the last 15 years, and would also incorporate their actual job title changes from data entry and maintenance specialist to election operation coordinator, and from canvassing aide to deputy registrar, which is what was authorized by the board for me to submit. So that's the objective. However, we would not file those job description and title changes because they are union positions without having at least some sort of corresponding change in compensation, which is why this minimal 1 grade increase is what I was authorized to request.
Thank you, Director.
So I up to that. So we're increasing that and we're deducting it out of wherever we find additional monies based on tonight's amendments?
Yes, I'm trying to do this one now out of the 15,000 we've already found. That way Director Lehman can.
From
go
the
ahead.
inspections? Okay. Are we going line item by line item?
Yes, we
Okay,
will.
Okay, because I just had a question. If my only concern is we have, obviously, I do not recall when the director came before us that Saturday, but if we have these conversations about salary going up and down, and then I see there's additional increases as well and proposed or will be proposed this evening in other departments. I'm just concerned about the equity as well. I know those departments probably, there's probably inequity already within, but I'm just, if we do it, I'm just trying to figure out how do we pick and choose which department we're increasing and decreasing from and adding.
That's a more than fair question, and the only salary increases that we are entertaining, at least in the amendments that I plan to propose this evening, are ones that were requested by the directors of the specific departments. And the only other salary increase is going to clerical, the clerical assistance line item, and as well as in the libraries, to account for the increase in the state minimum wage, which was not accounted for in the mayor's proposed budget, as well as an increase in salary schedule within the public libraries to account for a contractual obligation. So we are not choosing to increase anyone else's salary. Those are to meet contractual obligations. The motion before us right now is to provide an increase to that department based on the request of not just the director, but I believe unanimously by the board, by the canvassing authority. Correct? Board of Canvassers?
Correct, Chair. This is the third year in a row that the canvassing authority has made this request, at the second of which formally in writing.
Thank you. Director Zedalis?
Mr. Chairman, and if I just may echo the sentiments of Councilor Vargas, I can say personally that in the departments that are under my divisions, three of the departments had requested upgrades. And again, they're all coming up to labor negotiation, whether it be the Teamsters, the two unions settled. So the suggestion that would be the venue, so everybody could be treated the same way, was somewhat my recommendation to the mayor. So I would echo that we probably should consider that to be the venue to review all of these throughout the city, not just select departments, would be my recommendation.
Thank you, Director. Councilman Campopiano.
Thank you, Chair. The Director of Planning came before us and asked us about a job description change. Is this the same type of change, similar to what he was asking?
Admittedly, Councilman, I do not recall. Councilman Paplaskas.
Chair, I just have a procedural question through the chair to the attorney. I'm just asking because I have the agenda for this evening in front of us. And I notice Councilwoman Haroyan's name's not on here. I just want to make sure we're not getting into an open meetings violation with her participating.
No, there's no open meetings violation on the agenda.
Thank you.
There's no other discussion on the motion. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horian, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to increase the expenses for Group 1108, Board of Canvassers, line item 51300, payroll tax. Increase that amount by $337.
Motion to,
The amended budget would read 18,673. I'll entertain a motion to
motion to
approve.
approve. Second.
Is there any discussion? I'll just add, this is the corresponding payroll tax increase to go along with the salary approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horian,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
Okay, if we go back up to the second line item, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to increase the revenue category for group 1112, Finance Department, line item 49130, account other revenue. Increase this by $750 to an amended fiscal year 25 budget amount to $15,750.
Motion to approve. Second.
The annualizations for this line item are running at 15,750, or right there at it. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Voskis,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the revenue category for group 1202, Police Department, line item 44500, account VIN verification. Increase the line item by 15,000. So the fiscal year 25 amended amount would read 515,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
This is based on the revelations during the budget hearing of both a closure in, I believe, Providence, as well as increase in use and revenue coming in over the past several months. And I believe our budget auditor has a comment as well.
During the hearings, I had asked the colonel with reference to the increase. They do about 100 a day, give or take, and he's expecting to do probably somewhere between another 40 to 50 with the closures, and he felt confident with the increase.
Any discussion? Councilman Paplaskas.
Yeah, I'll just say, I'm gonna support this, but I'm still leery about us hitting this number. For some reason, I just feel like we're not gonna hit it, but I will vote for it.
Thank you. And budget order, you did have that conversation, correct?
Correct. And also there was an increase with the Cranston location of CarMax with the vehicles being available. I had just asked that question and he said there's actually an abundance coming out of there also. So he felt we're being a little bit conservative, but as you know, we only can go by current information.
Director Moretti?
During the council meetings, I think it was this body that expressed concern that if Providence opens up, Cranston's going to be in trouble in terms of their budget. The administration expresses that. I think we're taking a risk enough. I think this is further risking our ability to meet our budget next year. We oppose this.
Thank you, Director. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'll entertain a motion to amend the revenue category for group 1300, Department of Public Works, line item 44101, street opening permit revenues, to increase the line item by 15,000 to read for fiscal year 25, $75,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
The background for this is the annualization is running high for this number, and it's running at about $75,000, and the historical average is actually above that, so remaining conservative. I'd like to bump this up a little bit to 15,000 to meet what it's running at for fiscal year 24, but still keeping it under what the 5-year average is. Director Moretti.
On this one and all of these, I think revenues have been pushed enough throughout the budget collectively. And I think if you wanted to increase any of these revenue line items, I think if you want to cool down some other revenue line items would be the prudent thing to do financially for the city of Cranston versus just keep on raising revenue line items, because I think it's been social media and elsewhere that this body, not the body, but members of the body have expressed their concerns for revenue being too hot. I think here's a great opportunity to just reclassify those revenues and put them all more in line where you believe they should be versus selectively choosing line items to increase and without decreases on the other side, to be consistent with what the social media has been saying.
Thank you, Director Moretti, for your input. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd entertain a motion to amend revenue category for the revenue for Group 1302, Division of Highway Maintenance, line item 44200, Public Works Highway Miscellaneous, to increase this line item by 30,000. The fiscal year 25 amended budget would read 30,000.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Director Moretti.
I'll make comment just like I did the last time, so I won't even repeat it, but otherwise I recommend for the financial prudence of the city, you find offsets in other revenue line items rather than this line item. I'll be just getting up this for the record to express that view.
Sorry, just a moment. I just want to go back and double check something. I apologize, everyone. I just want to go back and amend what I said. I wrote the wrong thing down. It's the same line item. It's everything remains the same, but the fiscal year 25 amended budget would be 180,000. That would be an increase of 30,000. I'll entertain a motion to amend that line item for fiscal year 25 to 180,000.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
My apologies, everyone, for the confusion on that. That's my fault. Next, I'd like to amend revenue line item for Group 1303, Division of Engineering, line item 44300, account inspection fee subdivisions, to increase this line item by $1,500 to an amended amount of $6,500.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion? Director Moretti?
Thank you, just for the record, with the same argument I made a moment ago. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
The last revenue change that I seek to make this evening is revenue for Group 1400. That's Department of Parks and Recreation, line item 45000, Parks and Recreation receipts. I'd like to amend to increase this line item by 25,000 to 450,000.
Motion to approve. Second.
I had a conversation with Director Tasalia. Simply based on if last year's number stayed the same, there would be a $15,000 increase. And fiscal year 24 ran at 400 and I think without it in front of me, 424,000. So there's a $15,000 increase just on that if numbers stay the same. He said he anticipates an increase in numbers given the Garden City location. Director Moretti.
Thank you. Just again, I think prudence dictates reclassifying. I think it's fine to increase that if you want to decrease revenue elsewhere where you think it may be aggressive. If there's no adjustments to decrease revenues otherwise, I believe that is basically saying that you concur those revenues are very reasonable. Thank you.
Is your comment related to a motion on the floor?
Yes, this one. It's just a question based on what you just said. Can I ask it? Thank you. You just mentioned the Garden City location. Can you specify what you're talking about?
That due to the new location at Garden City, there's anticipated to be an increase of summer campers, which on top of the already increase of expected 15,000 just based on flatlining numbers, with the additional campers, we felt that that's an honest projection.
Is that so more campers can go to Garden City even though they shut other locations because Garden City is a bigger location?
Because the popularity of the Garden City location, they expect an increase in campers this year.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Okay, we are moving on to expenses. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to amend expense category for Group 1101, Department of the Executive, line item 52001, account printing and duplicating, decrease this line item by $500 to amended to $2,000 for fiscal year 25.
Motion to approve. Second.
Councilman Campiano.
Well, thank you, Chair. What do you base the decrease on?
It's based on the actualization for fiscal year 24 as well as the fiscal year 19 through fiscal year 23. So that the past 5 most recent closed budgets so my adjustment is based on the way 24 is running, as well as taking into account the historical average, which runs closer to 2,000.
Thank you.
Fiscal year 19 through fiscal year 23, the 5-year average was $2,047.27.
Yeah, if you want to go, I agree. If you want to go back to 2019, 20, 21, and 22, oh no, pardon me, 2019 and 2020, those years were 8,400 and 7,500 respectively. 21 was 10,8, 22 was 15,6, 23 actuals with 11,300. And we're proposing a decrease of 10,5, down to 10,5, about $800. This would add to the budgeted decrease that the mayor had in his department. Is that, am I reading this correctly? It's flat line to budget to budget, 24 to 25 budget, but it's actually a decrease in 23 actuals. So by not requesting an increase, I think the mayor is doing his part. $500, frankly, I'm not going to jump off a cliff because of it, but I still think it's incorrect.
Director, we're on line 52001, the printing and duplicating. Just some of the numbers you were saying don't match up to at least what's in front of me. So I just want to make sure we're on the same line item.
Also, Chairman, you're right. I believe last year, fiscal year 23 closed about 2,600 and change. The 24 budget is $2,500. We're proposing the flat budget of $2,500. So decrease of the prior year, but flat, no increase. This would put in a decrease for the for that line item for $500. We hope the city council does the same thing to their budget. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Moretti. Any other discussion? Councilman Paplaskas.
Yeah, I'll just say that I'll be voting against this tonight. I know it's a small amount of money, but it's a big percentage. The cost of everything's going up, not down. So I'm gonna, you can't buy as much as you used to be able to with that amount of money. So I'll be voting against it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Seeing no further discussion, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas. Yep. Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Councilman Marino.
Yes.
I'm going to skip one line and go to the expense category for group 1101, executive line item 51110, account salary schedule. I'd like to amend by decreasing that line item by $55,833.25. This would make the fiscal year 25 amended amount to $414,359.75.
Motion to approve. Second.
Is there any discussion? Director Moretti.
Is that a particular position or is that just cutting salaries amongst the whole department? Can you give further detail to what you're driving at there, please?
This would eliminate the confidential assistant to the mayor position.
That being the case, feel free, obviously, do what you wish. We wish it was in the budget. We think we'd serve the people of the city a lot better. We'd serve the city council a lot better with this position. The one thing that is managing the office that I believe that the office, we've been going a long time without this position being filled. But At the same time, I could tell you that I believe where we could do a better job would be basically responsiveness to the city council requests. I think we've done a good job, but we can do a better job. A big item I see is grants. The mayor's office and elsewhere does a lot of work regarding grants, and we don't want to miss out on those opportunities. And I saw this position as strengthening that opportunity, that I think the money we would receive by having this person here and distribution of workload in the office would much more than pay, probably 5, 10 times more in gaining grant opportunities. So I think the city's going to lose out on those opportunities. So I definitely see loss of opportunities that we could be gaining. And the other thing is what we're lacking, is in my opinion, is more involvement with the state legislative affairs, being up to speed with what they're doing and the impacts on the city of Cranston. That's my critique of the mayor's office, that I think we could be doing a better job with this resource. I think we've gone too long without it, and I think it's necessary. I think it's going to well pay for itself several times over. But I also, if you want to proceed with this adjustment, I just want to be very clear that those 3 areas will be deficient, and I would rather divert more resources internally to play more effort on grant opportunities. And frankly, I think the council and their requests will probably be the first things to be lessened in terms of attention. Because I think so. I think it's a bad mistake. I figured you were going to go after this. I think that's punitive to the mayor. The staff is not big at all. And certainly I think it's just punitive to Mayor Hopkins. And for all the reasons I stated, I think we have sound rationale for keeping this position, because I guarantee you that position will pay for itself many times over.
Thank you, Director Murray. Nothing about the amendments that I'm attempting to make this evening are punitive. They are well thought out. They are sound financial decisions based on the numbers that I have in front of me. But to categorize them as punitive, I would not. I think you and I have worked together enough. That's not how I operate. It's not how I'm running this committee. It's not how I'm trying to go through this budget. The position is vacant. It's been vacant. And as the mayor described in the budget, everyone's asked to do more with less. It's a vacant position, and I'd like to move that money elsewhere. And if the committee agrees, then the committee agrees. If they don't, then they don't. That's a decision for us to make. Councilwoman Hawaiian.
Could I ask questions to the administration?
Absolutely.
How long has the position been vacant?
I'm going to approximate a year and a half, year to 9 months.
And who in your office normally does grants?
Me, it's people pitching in. We don't have the resources dedicated, and that's why we see this as reinforcing it so we could distribute workloads. I'm not saying this person per se would do it, but it would free up more time for me, more time for others to do this. I guarantee you it would pay for itself. And that's the problem, is we're not focusing like we could be given the resources.
Do we ever consult out to one individual or consultant?
There is obviously the grant writer. The grant writer oftentimes identifies opportunities. And so do we internally. But the person is not intimately involved in writing grants. She'll take the information we might provide her, summarize it and pass it along, give guidance, does excellent work in that regard. But in terms of doing legwork, it's left to the administration in a couple of key departments. And I could see it as a manager that we could be, I can't say we're doing a bad job with the resources, but we could be a much better job. And I think be more efficient, being more responsive to the council, and getting things done. A good septic loan program. Probably if we had more resources writing that, it would have been done faster probably. So we really were stretched. You want to give increases to people, we're just looking to do the job.
Why was it left vacant for? Did you not
We've
have
been, we've
12?
been pushing and pushing the staff, correct, doing more with less. But just realizing we're losing opportunity now that that is it. It can only go on for so long. And to the breaking point, the council requests are tremendous coming in. It's voluminous and things aren't solved quickly and all that, but they accumulate. And frankly, we haven't put much of an effort into being up to speed with what's going on at the State House and the league. We could be more involved with and benefit more. So for those reasons, again, that's what I see as how this executive department could improve. And that's a key resource, I think, for getting beyond, getting further.
Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. I just have a question. I think it's probably to you or to the auditor. Is this for one single position or is this also for the raises that were in the executive? Because how much does that confidential secretary cost?
The proposed amendment would eliminate that position and would level fund the salary.
The salaries for other people?
Correct.
Can someone tell me, maybe it's the auditor might have it in front of them, how much is it? How much are just the raises?
$7,973.
And I'm sure payroll's separate on here, right? And then this question is for the director. Director, do you anticipate, who is the confidential secretary now? Because the confidential secretary usually does scheduling, calendars, stuff like that for the mayor. Is someone in a different position doing that now? And I'm only asking as it pertains to this position that we're talking about for the finances.
Sure. In terms of roles and responsibilities, talking about this position, absolutely. Confidential secretary positions have been dispersed. Responsibilities have been dispersed. Amongst many, about 3 or 4 people, 3 people more so. So again, everything's been divided up. People are pitching in that we just don't have one person doing one thing in a department. It's very much shared and pitching in where need be. And I'm sorry.
Would you anticipate if this role was filled, would they have a particular job so that everybody else could do more of what they're supposed to do, like the communications?
Clearly,
person?
that's the point I made. Absolutely, clearly. It would impact the top. It'd impact the mayor. It'd impact myself, my performance.
Could you better live without the raises if there was some kind of a compromise, no raises, but get the position?
I think it's rotten. That's punitive. Going after the mayor's staff's salary. I don't care what anybody says.
No,
It's
that's not what I meant.
It's punitive. They're going after that, giving raises elsewhere, but they're people too. These people have families. They have children. They have grandchildren. I hope this council realizes I'm a human being too. I go to the grocery store. So does Paul McCauley, Zeta McCauley, and the people every day, just like every other city employee. Councilman Ferry boasts about why
Director,
we should
you're off
pay more
topic.
money. I think it's
Director,
rotten.
Director,
and we take it very
Director,
personally.
point of
and
order.
Rotten.
I
sir.
am the chair. I am running this committee. And we're going to hold decorum here. We're not taking personal attacks. I have no problem with you addressing any of the amendments that we're making, but we are going to keep it to the amendments. If you want to speak to the impact it would have on your department, I'm okay with that. But we are not going to have Director, had enough. Thank you. You don't have the floor right now. Councilman Paplaskas.
Thank you. I might have to ask the director a question, or I'll defer it to Director Zadelis. The raises for the staff, do they correlate to raises that were given to other clerical positions in the city, other bargaining units?
They were 2.5% across the board for all administrative staff. It's probably affecting about 25 people or so. The bargaining units were different. It's what they bargained for at different points in time. Some were above that, whatever year it depends on, some were low. I can say on average, the last 4 years, This translates to less than 2%, probably about 1.5 to 1.75%, the lowest increases given any bargaining unit, for sure. And
I'll just finish my comments. I'll be voting against this. I feel like the people in that office are being singled out when other raises are going out. But it's not fair to them because they work in the mayor's office. So I will be voting for this tonight. Thank you.
Councilwoman Haroy.
Just a question, could that be split up so we can vote separately? One on eliminating position and then one on the raises, or no?
Yes, it can, and currently have our budget auditor making that adjustment right now. Just while we're getting these numbers correct, I'd like to take a 3-minute recess. At this time, whoever made that amendment, whoever made the motion on the amendment, I would ask that you withdraw it.
I withdraw my motion.
At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the expense category for group 1101 executive line item 51110 salary schedule to decrease by $47,860.25. This would bring the fiscal year 25 amendment to $422,332.75.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This amendment would leave the pay raises in for the executive staff, but would remove the confidential assistant position.
So
It hasn't been filled, as we just heard, it hasn't been filled in a year and 9 months, I believe. And that's money that, like I said earlier, would be moved to the schools. Is there any further discussion? Council President. Sorry, Councilwoman, Council Vice President Vargas.
Thank you, Chairman. So, just to confirm, the salaries increases are staying in, and this is strictly just that confidential assistant position,
Correct.
correct? Okay. So I just want to put it on the actual, just on the record for this, is that I have a few points that I just want to make before taking the vote on here, and that is that, yes, that position has been vacant for at least a year. At this point, I really think that I would have wished the administration and to actually they should have done some sort of reorg or restructure. If the position hasn't been filled in a year, clearly there must be a reason as to why they don't want to fill it, or why everybody else in that department has to restructure themselves to do other work. And so I hate to see positions eliminated if they could actually be, if there's potential in a position. And I'm not only saying that because there's election this year at all, but it's more of any position being eliminated from the mayor's office or just in general. I'm always about, well, why wasn't it done? Where were the opportunities? What could we have improved? And that could have been an area of improvement. I am going to support this evening, but I just want to be mindful and say that in terms of the vacant position, the administration has had the opportunity for a year to fulfill it. It hasn't been done. Clearly, it's been over a year and a half or so. The fact that we're hearing that position could have been doing grants, or could have been doing other maybe legislative trackers, is really a missed opportunity then on the administration side to not fill that in. We do have grant writers and everyone else, but if that position was intended to offset some of the work that the grant writer, or offset some of the work that any other employee in that department would have been doing, we wouldn't be in the situations that we have been in terms of seeking opportunities that have been missed, I should say. So I really hope, I would have really wished that position could have had a little bit more creativity and brought somebody else in. I'm only saying that just because I work for an executive office as well. But it has not been filled for a year and a half, and therefore I'll be supporting removing of this vacancy within. And I'm hoping that down the line, if there comes a time where anyone taking that office, it doesn't matter whether it's a current mayor or future mayor, then we can actually validate and reassess whether or not that newly created position would be needed in that department, given the fact there's also vacancies in so many other departments within the city. And at the end of the day, what I'm hearing is that these amendments, or what I've been reading at the bottom, is that it's going to go towards the schools. So really my reason to support is because it's going to the schools, but I wouldn't want to see any position and eliminated because of the creativity that that department had the opportunity to do, and clearly it was not, whether it was a confidential secretary or could have been restructured to something else. So that is all.
Thank you, Council Vice President. There are any other members that have discussion? Councilwoman Ridzulli.
Thank you. I can appreciate the compromise made if people are going to have to do more with less. I'd like to, happy to see that they would get a little bit more so they can do more with a little bit more. Thank you.
Director and then Council President for the last word, and we'll take a vote.
Something I omitted, the Council Vice President brought up. I disagree about creativity. We've done a lot to be creative, to make it work. A role of and involves what we were talking about, in terms of the, I'll say grant writing or support and leadership for grants. As you know, the Senior Services Director has come over to the mayor's office to pitch in that regard, also for some constituent affairs. Yeah, the mayor doesn't like that scenario the best, and that's another reason for this, that he wants the Senior Services Director to focus 100% there, whereas we are losing that resource because he's being stretched too much. And that is another reason I forgot to mention a moment ago about filling that role of someone to ride herd on grants. The Senior Services Director will not be doing that more. And that's why it's going to be falling, because we want to focus more on 100% on senior services. But I do think we've been extremely creative in that regard. And that's why it just hits the kind of tipping point. This is the tipping point. Your decision, but as I told you, what we'll be suffering in terms of responsiveness relative to some grant opportunities or seeing things through, or the efficiencies in that process. Certainly constituent affairs, particularly with the council requests, and also our involvement and losing out the opportunity to be involved more with the legislative initiatives.
Thank you, Director. Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Donegan. I'll be in support of this amendment this evening. There's been some statements made from the administration that when the position was filled, that there was more responsiveness, more communication to the council, and more effectiveness relative to grant opportunities. And my experience has been that even when that position was filled, I have not seen any improvement in those areas. And for that reason, I will be in support of this amendment. Thank you.
Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horian,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
I'd like to entertain a motion to amend expense line item 1101, I'm sorry, expense category for group 1101 executive, line item 51300, payroll tax. Decrease this number by $3,661.31. That would amount to a fiscal year 25 budget of $32,731.69.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The number on your line on the sheet that I handed out is slightly adjusted due to those raises being put back in. But it's still, that change is for the position that was just removed. Director Moretti?
I'm assuming, please correct me if I'm wrong, that the reduction in the proposed reduction in personnel, payroll taxes and salary is not to give the people in that department an increase. I just want to understand it, or am I incorrect?
we can discuss those potential or hypothetical amendments if they are brought up. We're currently on the executive branch payroll tax.
My apologies.
I-
I was looking ahead. I'm sorry.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
The next three amendments are exclusively related to the confidential assistant position. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the expense category for Group 1101 Executive, line item 51304, Group Life Insurance, to decrease by $192. The fiscal year 25 amended amount would be $1,152.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend expense category for Group 1101 Executive, line item 51301, account pension, decrease by $4,814.74. This would amend the 25 budget to $31,923.26. Do we have a motion to
Motion
approve?
to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yeah, no.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Donegan. Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
So again, the group, I'm sorry, the pension amendment was related to the confidential assistant position. And lastly, related to the confidential assistant position is expense line item 1101, executive line item 51302, account hospitalization. I'd like to entertain a motion to decrease that line item by $24,884.48. This would bring the fiscal year 25 budget to $71,125.52. Do we have a
Motion
motion?
to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas.
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Donegan. Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to go to expense group 1105, city clerk, line item 51203, account clerical assistance. The motion would be to increase this line item by $5,000, bringing the fiscal year 25 amended amount to $40,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Director Moretti?
Could you please explain what that line, the reduction, increases for, please?
I know that the clerk brought it up at the budget hearing. Admittedly, I made a note to change. I don't remember the specifics. I don't know if council, do you know?
Yeah, I
One of
believe
you
that
two, I don't-
5,000, I thought that $5,000 increase for the salary was because it was one staff member who was working about 21 hours. I was not present, but I was on Zoom and I watched it. And there was an employee who was here, was 21 hours, and they were hoping, the person is not full-time, but they're hoping that that person is able to match up. So that way, hopefully we can retain some good staff. Speaking of, paying equity. And that person was also very essential based from what I watched on the implementation of removal of that 1988 register and bringing the clerk's office to the 21st century technology.
Council President?
Yep, I do. Similar, Council Vice President Vargas, my notes are that it is essential due to a clerk assisting in software updating, an hourly, part-time. It's only a 50-cent hourly raise,
That's it.
for about 21 hours, or so. That's it. Yep.
Is there any further discussion? Director?
If that's a 50-cent increase, I think that amounts to $546 a year. If someone wants to check my math at 21 hours a week. So I propose that you make it a $546 adjustment if I'm correct versus 5,000.
Councilman Ferry?
Yes, my notes say that on line 51101 under city clerk, that the department head had asked for a $15,000 increase in salary. She got 5,000 and said she cannot fulfill her obligations to her help and give that raise without an additional $5,000. That's what my notes say. She was looking to give the raise and to fulfill the rest of her payroll obligations with overtime or whatever it was, that she asked for 15,000, she got 5, and she needed 10. So she's asking for another $5,000 to fulfill her needs. That includes that raise.
May I suggest we put in the proper line items to be able to have a proper discussion versus melding overtime into clerical assistance role, which is misleading. And just want to mention, I've received an objection from a union steward about this because there's a cascade effect whenever salary adjustments are made, that it affects other unions, other people in bargaining units. Again, I say this will lessen our bargaining negotiations with Teamsters.
Thank you. Thank you, Director. Council Vice President?
This person is non-union, is that correct?
My understanding is that they're hourly,
are
correct?
union?
They're not.
Correct, and the unions are upset.
They
that
are
you're
in the
giving
union?
non-union people increases because of the squeaky wheel. That's correct.
The employee, this part-time employee, because they are in the union, I'm sorry, that's right? Oh, they're not.
No.
They're not in the
Clerk
union.
would not be in the union.
Okay, so you've answered my question. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Horayan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
The next line item is the correlating payroll tax to go with that $5,000 increase. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to increase group number 1105, city clerk, line item 51300, payroll tax, increase that by $383. That would make the amended 25 budget 27,800.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horayan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, did you skip something? 1104? Okay, I just wanted to point that out. Sorry.
Yes, thank you. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion on expense category for group 1109, Department of Planning, line item 52015, account education program, to increase this line item by $750. This would bring the 25 budget to amended budget to $3,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This was brought up in the meeting. This is to meet a contractual obligation. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Horayan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
I'm sorry,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to go to expenses for group 1112, Finance Department, line item 52900, account bank charges. I'd like to entertain a motion to decrease the expenses by $2,000 to an amended budget of 500.
Motion to approve?
Second.
The annualization for this year is at $480. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano, Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes. Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next. Next, I'd like to go to expense for group 1201, fire alarm, line item 53113, traffic signal repairs. I'd like to entertain a motion to decrease this line item by 35,000 to bring it to fiscal year 25 amended amount of 50,000. The reason why I'm suggesting this is the fiscal year 24 annualization is at $10,000, including encumbered expenses. The 5-year average is 35,000. So this reduces it by 35,000 to 50, but still leaves a $17,000 cushion from what the average has been over the past 17 years. So even if it goes, 50% over budget, it still would hit what we're leaving there for next year.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Director Zadelis?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, I'm just coming to the microphone on 1201, the fire alarm 53113. I'm going to skip down 2 lines and I'm just going to make a generalized statement for 4 accounts. 1302, highway maintenance, the 54201, snow power equipment repair. The next up, 1304, building maintenance. 54,408, and then 54,401 again in building maintenance. Now, fire alarm in the other 3 divisions, there are big numbers hitting operational departments. One thing I will say is relative to the snow budget, we have reduced that from previous fiscal years. So in terms of repairs, I don't know what the effect is. If I can go up to the fire alarm again, I'm sitting here without being able to ask the fire department what the effect of that will be. What plans do you have? I can say that they had an aggressive budget that we didn't hit. We didn't even come close to their ask in terms of the mayor's budget submission. And then on the last 2 of the building maintenance, as you know, we have an aging facilities. So of all the things, the maintenance of our buildings is imperative. So without knowing the effects of the proposed budget cuts, I am leery. The other generalized comment that I'd like to make that's not addressed in the proposal, you had spoken previously about the minimum wage. One of the biggest participants for employees in the minimum wage is the Parks Department, which you referred to a little earlier. That is not addressed in the amendment. So just consistency, we're a little off with how we're approaching it. But so I'm rising collectively on those and just gonna go back and sit down.
Thank you, Director. As always, I appreciate your comments. All right, the motion before us is to amend that line item, decreasing it by 35,000. As I stated previously, the 5-year average is 33,000. It's currently running at $10,000 in fiscal year 24. This still leaves the line item at 50,000, giving it a significant cushion from what the 5-year average is. Is there any discussion? Council Vice
I
President.
just want to double check again, this is a traffic repair for traffic signals, right? I think that was my question during the budget day.
Yes, this is traffic signal repairs.
Okay, so as long as there's enough cushion, the administration knows, I'm always emailing them about the repair and the lights over on intersection of Broad and Warwick. So as long as there's still funding to continue to repair when it's needed, or hopefully repair the whole thing, I'm all in support of it. Thank you.
Director.
We can't guarantee if the money is reduced and there's traffic signal problems in 2 or 3 or 4 intersections and we don't have the money, the repairs will not be done unless there's other provisions that have to be made. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Okay, the next is, this is the Steve Stikos amendment. This is to amend category for expenses, group 1202, Department Police Department, line item 53209, account rent decrease by $15,612 to an amended amount for fiscal year 25 to $1,397,686.
Motion to approve.
Second.
And the way we would do this is, as always, pay for it through the police impact fees, which we've done. Chris, how many years have you been on the council? Have we done this? Councilman.
Long time. Just a question, do we have the money? Is there another line item where we're gonna take it from, or I know we have to do it by a resolution or something down the road. Want to make sure the money's there before this happens.
Yeah, so it would be an ordinance that I will happily put forth once the process is complete. Did that last year, and I think the 2 or 3 years before that. My analysis of the packet that Mr. Igo sent out suggests that money is there.
That's the Eastern impact fees.
East and Western police impact fees.
Thank you.
Clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Haroyan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas, Councilman Donegan.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to amend line item for group 1302, Division of Highway Maintenance. Line item 54201, account snow removal equipment repairs decreased by 15,000 to a fiscal year 25 amended amount of 60,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The rationale for this is this would be a change from 75,000 to 60,000. The 5-year historical average is 52,000. Fiscal year 24 is annualized at 49,000. So this still leaves an $11,000 cushion from the historical average. And, I'm sorry, it leaves an $8,000 cushion from the historical average and is still $11,000 higher than what it ran annualized for this year. Director Moretti.
2 things. First off, this year, as you know, the last 2 years have been fortunate that had a good experience in terms of the weather. Second of all, in terms of the dollar amounts, I think it's flawed in terms of looking at a 5-year average or anything like that. As you know, inflation, and particularly with cost of vehicles, cost of parts has skyrocketed, probably about 40%, 50%. I think this number I think we need all the money in that budget, which is already as low as we could be. I don't think that mathematics is taken into account what's happened, the current value of, cost of parts, to fix our vehicles. And in the middle of a snowstorm, we want to make sure we have the money to do so. Thank you.
Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
No.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Council President Marino.
Yes.
Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend expense category for Group 1304, Division of Building Maintenance, line item 54408, City Supplies. I'd like to decrease that line item by 5,000 to an amended 25 budget of 15,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The 24 annualization is running half of that 15,000. So it seems like a place that we could move some money. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Through the chair. Could I
Yes.
just ask for a 2-second recess? I need to get some more roll call sheets.
Of course,
Just make a copy.
absolutely. It's 7:07. We'll take a recess to 7:10. Okay, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the expense category for Group 1304, Division of Building Maintenance, line item 54401, electrical supplies, decreased by 8,000 to bring the fiscal year 25 amended budget to 42,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
This would level fund this line item. The current fiscal year annualization is running at 32,000. So this still leaves it at $10,000 more than what it's currently running. So fiscal year running at 32,000, this would make the budget 42,000 rather than 50. Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Okay, the next three line items are increases in expenses for the library, the Cranston Public Libraries. The payroll tax correlates with the salary schedule, and the part-time help was requested by the department to accommodate or to account for the increasing minimum wage in fiscal beginning January 1, 2025. It was brought up by the department in the meeting, and so we're trying to address it. Additionally, the director had said that they would need about $125,000 to continue their current operation levels. So this is some money to try and address the shortfall. At this time, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend the expense for Group 1500 Public Libraries, line item 51200, part-time help increased by 50,000 to make the fiscal year 25 budget 45,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
My suggestion would be to ask for a salary schedule leading to the $50,000. It seems like just a rounding number. I think the prudent thing to do was to review and make sure those numbers are correct.
Thank you, Director. The number was it was a specific number requested by Director Garsha. And for as we all know, but for anyone listening, similar to the school department, the public libraries, we allocate their total amount. What they do with it is ultimately under their own jurisdiction. But 50,000 towards part-time is what Director Garsha answered when I asked the question via email, or Council President Maria, I forget who asked the question, but the response given was $50,000. Councilwoman Renzulli.
Thank you. Just a question. Do you know if they get what they need from the state similarly to the schools? Will they still need this from us? I know we had put in a resolution saying to fully fund the libraries as well. So I'm just curious if they get that, is this necessary, or was this not included in that either?
I can't speak to that specific. I would have to ask the director for a response on that.
Could you ask, or do you want me, could I email and CC you, or do you want to ask, or?
The Council President Marino has their hand up potentially.
Thank you. Yep. In discussions with the Director Garsha, this is needed with respect to particularly the change in the rate, and just to meet their requirements for payroll. The funding that they receive from the state currently is decreased from what they received previous last year, and they do not know if they'll get an increase. So they had additional asks beyond this. And as it is, even with their reserve fund and with the state aid, there's still going to be a shortfall, including increased utilities.
Director Garsha is on the call. I am going to allow him to hop on. Tom, if you could allow him in. Director Garsha, good evening. If there's anything you'd like to address briefly, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilman. Can you hear me?
We can, yes.
Okay. I'm sorry that I'm not there in person. I've been out sick for the last couple of days, so I'm just home watching on Zoom. To address Councilwoman Renzulli's question about state aid, I do want to thank the council for passing that resolution to fully support state aid, but unless that amendment happens in the General Assembly, we will lose 22,000 in state aid. The trustees have matched that number in the revenue that's in this budget from the reserve fund. But the funds that we're requesting here are I don't want to say additional funds, but not covered by the loss in state aid. So the state aid is not fully funded to the levels that it should be.
Is there any further discussion? Councilman Campopiano.
Yes, I'm all for the libraries, but our collective goal here, I believe, is to give money to schools. Are we robbing Peter to pay Paul here? And where we can use this for the schools?
I can only speak for myself. The money when going through and suggesting that amendment, I had said that what would go to the schools is the pool of money that would be left over after certain obligations that we were trying to meet, such as some of the contractual ones that we've already addressed, as well as some requests from the department, got one from the clerk, as well as from Director Lima, and similar to that, Director Garcia. So that $213,000 number had accounted for these funds going to the libraries as well. I think that the schools and the libraries play a very similar role in providing, opportunity, educational opportunity and programming that not only benefit our youth, but also, the libraries play such an important role in community, in availability and equity within the community, that I think they are worthy of this further investment. And we're one of the highest circulating. I know I'm getting a little off topic, but we're one of the highest circulating, if not still the highest circulating library in the state. They do a fantastic job, and I think anything we can do to support them by funding their part-time to meet obligations under state law going forward, I think it's an opportunity that we should take.
Thank you for the clarification.
Council President.
Thank you. That's a good point, Councilman Campopiano. And I can say as a parent, having, had a child go from kindergarten right through to graduating high school and one that's still there, that the Cranston Public Libraries go hand in hand with the Cranston Public Schools. And Director Garcia had mentioned at the Finance Committee hearing with respect to his budget that if they don't receive this is going to dramatically impact their ability to provide services, and particularly Sunday services. And again, as a parent, I can tell you for children, having those weekend services are really essential. I think the two go hand in hand. Thanks.
Director, sorry. It's got a ring to it.
Did I get a promotion? Did I get a promotion?
I don't want to give any ideas to the administration, but Councilman Ferry.
Yes, when we have our 5-year-old grandson over for the week, there's always a day to go to the library. And I am just so impressed at what's available there and the great job that they do. And I think underfunding the libraries is definitely affect the children in this city. So I'm all in favor of funding the libraries more money. Thank you.
Discussion, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry?
Yes.
Councilwoman Horoyan?
Yes.
Councilman Campopiano?
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas?
Yes.
Councilman Wall?
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas?
Yes.
Councilman Donegan?
Yes.
Council President Marino?
Yes.
Next, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend expense for group 1500, public libraries, line item 51100, salary schedule increase by $5,600 to a fiscal year 25 amended amount of $2,083,227. Do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan, Council President Reno.
Yes.
Lastly, for the public libraries, I'd like to entertain a motion to amend Group 1500 Public Libraries, line item 51300, payroll tax increased by $2,400 to a fiscal year 25 amended amount of $161,338.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please take a roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilwoman Haroyan, Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Reno.
Yes.
Lastly, skipping down to the last line is expense category group 1901 miscellaneous boards and commissions, line item 52063 diversity commission, decreased by $3,000 to $5,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
The rationale behind this, and it certainly is not because I in any way don't support the diversity commission, because I think I co-sponsored the resolution and ordinance when it was created. It's at $8,000. The money has never been spent any year ever that they've had funding. And like I said, I'm trying to move what I can find to the schools. This doesn't level fund it. It gives it $5,000. They still have $5,000 to spend in fiscal year 25, which if they spend it would be $5,000 more than they've ever spent in 4 or 5 years. So this still gives them room in case they want to have events, and we hope they do. We all want to see that commission succeed. But it's difficult to say they should have more money than other commissions when they haven't used it. Councilwoman Haroyan.
Are they meeting and how often?
Without having reviewed minutes for the Secretary of State, I don't want to misspeak, but I don't think they're meeting regularly. I don't know, not to put anyone on the spot, but Director Moretti or anyone in City Hall, does anyone know, have they ever met?
Yeah, not prepared to answer that. It's outside the scope of the meeting, so I don't have an answer. I wasn't prepared for that.
Councilman Campiano.
Thank you, Chair. Just to clarify, does that number in line with the other commissions as far as the budget?
The Diversity Commission right now has 8,000. The Historic District Commission has 2,000. The Cranston Conservation Commission has 1,000. The Tax Assessor Board of Review has 9,000. The Cranston Arts Commission has 7,400. Patuxent River Authority has 5,000. So it is right now, they have more money than any other commission outside of the Tax Assessor Board of Review.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification.
As Councilwoman Renzulli has just mentioned, the Tax Assessor Board, that there's salary involved, not salary, but pay involved there. Any discussion? Council Vice President.
I will be voting against this evening. Unfortunately, I do know that there hasn't been any costs in there, but as a woman of color, I'm not saying no one else supports diversity, and I know it hasn't been spent, but I truly believe that we need to get this kick going in the city. And I know they get a little bit more. I just want to go back to the story of the Diversity Commission. I think it was Councilmember Donegan, Councilmember Paplaskas, and I were actually on there when it was it went from a resolution item, and or maybe it was before, I'm not sure who it was, but I definitely know it was definitely the three of us. And we decided that particularly after all the incidents that were taking place, we were going to make this an established commission. I know this commission, in terms of the funds, has come up every year to reduce it. I am frustrated that it hasn't been used. I know that even as a council, any one of us can ask why it hasn't been used in general. The administration should also be very proactive in making sure that these funds, not just the funds, it's more of that the commission actually gets reactivated, comes together, confirms everybody's, whoever is, confirm everyone who's on the commission, whether or not they're still deciding to stay on it or not. Because there's a lot of work to do within diversity across the entire city. And I'm not talking about the Black and brown community. I'm talking about diversity, accessibility. I'm talking about members of the LGBT community. And more. So, I understand, Council Chairman, the fact that, every year that these funds stay in the books, it gives the administration additional free cash for a fourth quarter transfer to do whatever the administration would like to do. But there are certain votes that when I go home, I lay my head on that pillow and I'm not sure. I sometimes say, you know what? Did I actually, vote my heart? And I know this one, I would be tossing if I voted to support it, even though I know it has not been used. And I'm giving the administration and the next mayor, whether it's the same one or a new mayor, the opportunity to really do something. And as council members, let's all maybe take the initiative and put the Diversity Commission back up in action again.
Okay, I saw Council President, and I know others have their hands up, and I'll certainly let everyone speak. Council President.
Yep. This is a tough one because we have, it was a resolution before I was on the council. And then when I came on council, I fully support the need for the Diversity Commission and respect the prior council people that put forth the resolution. But I worked with Council Vice President Vargas at the time to pass an ordinance. We wrote that together and worked quite hard with respect to impaneling who would be on it to make sure it was representative more of the community than the administration. I have been saddened to see that they have not used the money and that they barely convene. It is the head of personnel that is the chair by ordinance of that commission, so it is executive driven. And most of the committees have $5,000, some have a lot less. So I'm torn, but given the historic nature that it hasn't been used, I would be in favor of the reduction because it still gives them $5,000. And if something were to change, or there was some other cause, maybe there could be a modification, but until it actually convenes for the next half of the fiscal year, the next budget, if I've got the pleasure of still being here and it's convening, I would gladly put more money towards that great cause. Thanks.
Go down the line for those that had their hands up. So I'm gonna, Councilman Paplaskas, and then I know Councilman Campiano and Councilwoman Renzulli also had their hand up, and Councilman Ferry. All right. It's like whack-a-mole.
All right. Thank you, Chair. I'm gonna be voting with Council Vice President Vargas on not removing this money. I remember a couple years ago, the commission actually needed twice this amount of money because they wanted to do a training. I don't think the training ever happened because we didn't have the money and we were looking for a grant to help offset that. So I think taking money away is a step backwards when we I don't know if this is even enough what's in there now. So I will be voting against it. Thank you.
Councilman Ferry.
My thoughts would be, I don't think, and I'm not speaking for everyone in the room, that if they meet, spend the $5,000 and ask for 10 next year, I don't think there's a person sitting in this room right now that wouldn't give them 10 or maybe even $15,000 if they meet and do it. So I'm sad to see that they haven't spent the money. The schools need the money right now. The libraries need the money right now. I will support the reduction, but I will encourage them to meet, spend the $5,000 and ask for 10 next year. Thank you.
Yes, and I fully adhere, fully support what you just said. They want more money, they need more money than they should ask for it, but they have to prove that they're gonna meet and they're gonna need it. Councilman Campiano.
Thank you, Chairman. I understand Vice President's concerns, but the Council President and Councilman Ferry stole my thunder. That's exactly what I was gonna say. If we make this reduction and they do meet, and next year they prove that they need these funds, I am all for it. So I think our goal is, again, to get money to the schools, and I will be supporting this.
Councilwoman?
Thank you. I do not have a vote here tonight, but I did want to say that it was a couple of years ago that I tried to find and did find money in the budget to increase this because there was a specific diversity training that they were looking into. Since then, I believe it is a different personnel director and a different chair who I will not speak for him, but in asking questions about the budget, I did ask about the diversity commission, in which we can confirm with him, and we should ask him maybe between now and when this budget is finally voted on. He said he did not get sufficient response from the members on the commission. Maybe that needs to be checked out, who actually is on this commission now and wants to participate. But if the director of personnel can commit to meeting and has some kind of idea of what they plan to do with these funds, I don't think it's a big swing either way. So if we can get the commitment that he will meet and we want to fully fund it so that they can use it, when we get that commitment, I would be open to that when we take a full vote, because I think that this commission is important, obviously, as I've tried to fund it further in the past, but also in the same way that the example was brought up that, the libraries work hand in hand with the schools are becoming more and more diverse. So the diversity commission could be working hand in hand with the schools as well. It could be a triangle over there of how we're working with the people in the community. The kids in our schools are getting more diverse as time goes on as well. So maybe asking the director between now and then through an email or to come to the budget hearing and tell us if he can meet and what he intends to do with the money, and everybody would feel more comfortable on how to vote on this line. Thank you.
Thank you. Everyone who's had a chance to speak, who wanted to speak, has had a chance. At this time, clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Councilman Horoyan,
Yes.
Councilman Campiano,
Yes.
Councilman Paplaskas,
No.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas,
No.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Council Attorney Angel, I do, just a brief question procedurally, before I move forward. If I were to make an amendment to a line item right now, would I be able to make subsequent amendments to that line item this evening if we wanted to, if more money were to avail itself to appropriate to another line?
I think it's more prudent for clarity's sake to do it at one time, but you would have an opportunity. You'd have to do a motion to reconsider. Okay, if you were going to change it in the same night. But for clarity's sake, Mr. Chairman, I politely would recommend you do it once.
On the budget adoption meeting, would we be able to make an amendment to a line that we amended this evening?
You could.
At the budget adoption meeting, hypothetically, would a amendment of less than $10,000, which would have no impact on the final number of the overall budget, be a substantive amendment?
Without more facts, it's tough for me to say. With that said, I think it's prudent. Obviously, it has to be revenue neutral and it has to be expense neutral. So you would have to find a source of revenue to support whatever you wanted to do that is outside of the tax stream of revenue or other revenue that the city receives that's been budgeted for.
Okay, thank you very much, Council Attorney. At this time, I would like to make an amendment to line item, to the expense line item, group 1800, Department School System, line item 59000, account additional city appropriation. I would like to increase that amount so that it would read $198,904.78.
Motion to approve.
Second.
That's the amount, the pool of money that we have left over from this evening. The reason that number changed from the 213 is at least this evening, we left in we did not change the raises in the executive department, in the personnel department, or the economic development department. So that's a $15,000 change. Motion, is there any discussion? Seeing none, clerk, please, I'm sorry, Director Moretti, I'll let you go first.
Thank you, Chair. Just overall, I appreciate and believe that the funding, particularly the schools, is very noble and certainly well-intended. I wish we could say we're fully behind it by just putting a word of caution that I believe collectively with the amendments that are being made, I believe we're jeopardizing the 25 budget in terms of running up a deficit, potential deficit, revenues of about $100,000 and spending of about 63,000 the way I calculate it. I think that just putting the cities in jeopardy for a deficit at the end of 2025 for those adjustments. Certainly have to say, these are a budget or estimates, things could change, but I do think we were stretched, and what the mayor presented for revenues and stretched for expenditures, that I think we just put funds at risk, that I think there's increased that possibility. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. So this is the culmination of the line item amendments that I'm going to be proposing. Obviously, we'll open it up to the floor if there are any others. However, just to reiterate, the amendments that were made this evening have zero impact on the bottom line of what this budget is. The total dollar amount that was proposed by the mayor has not changed. This money we found by working hard, looking through the budget with the intention to put as much money as we could towards the schools that need it. They're asking for almost 1.9. They're still 1.7 short. That's the budget that was given to the city council. We did our best because we support the schools. Clerk, please take the roll.
Councilman Ferry,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Campion,
Yes.
Yes.
Councilman Wall,
Yes.
Council Vice President Vargas.
Yes.
Councilman Donegan,
Yes.
Council President Marino.
Yes.
Councilman Ferry.
At this time, I'd like to propose some amendments to the capital budget.
Let me pass these out. This time, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. We'll reconvene at 7:48. Further business before us this evening. I'd like to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye.
I.
We are adjourned.